Alright, so the scientific explanation for the whole experiment with the fruit flies. There can be an observation that traits like eye color and like wing shape or body shape are inherited together more often because of gene linkage. Gene linkage occurs when two genes are located close to each other on the same homologous chromosome, and it makes them more likely to be inherited as a pair because they're physically connected. How this ties into like Mendel's law is genes for different traits are assorted independently of one another during the gamete formation, but his experiments are conducted using traits located on different chromosomes or far apart on the same chromosome, where like crossing over had a high chance of separating those. So linked genes kind of go against this independent assortment because their close proximity reduces the likelihood of them being separated by crossing over during meiosis. But linkage does not completely debunk Mendel's law, because the crossing over can and still does occur. It just kind of reduces that. The closer the genes are together, the lower the probability of recombination. So, and the farther apart they are, the higher the chance of them being separated. So in the real world, I think a good example of this is like in humans. For example, like red and green color blindness and hemophilia, because those are both located on the X chromosome. They often appear together in family lineages because they are sex-linked traits. So how would I teach this? I would teach this in a game. I feel like that's the best way to teach kids nowadays. And we would set it up kind of like a role play game. Students would pair up and they'd get two cards with like chromosomes that would act as chromosomes, two paper strips with like genes on them, and they would line them up side by side to like represent homologous chromosomes during meiosis. The next step we would take is we would predict what would happen if the genes always assorted independently, like through Mendel's law, and they can create combinations with those what are they? Genes. I think they're genes. What am I saying? The A's and B's. I think they're genes. Traits. Genes. I don't know. But the A's and B's. So like we could have a capital A, lowercase a, capital B, lowercase b. And they could make different assortments with them, assuming total randomness. And after that, we could we can stimulate the linkage. Now that they've learned that those A's and B's are linked, they can observe when chromosomes separate without crossing over, because capital A can always stay with capital B. And in the next step, we can introduce the crossing over using like a ribbon or a string. We can like connect the two sections or swap the two sections between the chromosome strips, and we can, just show them that you can produce new combinations like a lowercase b or uppercase B, lowercase a, using like crossing over breaks lineage, and then we could just let them reflect on that and solidify the things that they've been learning. So I just think this is a good visualization, and it helps them physically see the linkage, the linked genes and stuff, and helps them to better understand the concepts and how like linked genes come to be, stuff like that. And it lets them model meiosis too, and kind of get a feel of how meiosis and Mendel's law and gene linkage kind of all coexist and function as one.